At 6, a heartbreaking mystery. 30 years ago, Krista Dela Rosa walked out of her family home in Oregon and never returned.
Old investigative leads never panned out, leaving the family without answers. Her mother now lives here in Arizona and is holding out hope that she will be found.
Reporter Ashley Grams from our sister station in Portland spoke with Krista's mother and detectives who are still searching for clues.
She was a very, very loving girl. She loved hugs and she just got mixed up with the wrong people.
Photos of Krista Dela Rosa chronicle her life from early years.
She must be about 1, I don't know.
Through elementary school to the day she walked across the stage at David Douglas High School in Southeast Portland.
Yeah, that's her graduation, 88.
But the memories her mother Helen hold on to end when Krista turned 19 years old.
She would leave, and then she would come back, and she would leave and come back.
Helen says her daughter walked out the door on June 27, 1990, and never came home.
And then she started out the door, and I says, "Where are you going?" And she says, "I have a friend waiting for me," or something like that.
These are the original reports from 1990.
Detective Patrick Leahy with the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office investigated her disappearance.
And this one came across my table initially about 3 years ago.
Those reports say a friend watched Krista get into a cream-colored 1980s Oldsmobile with a vinyl top at Southeast 130th and Division in Portland.
The driver of that vehicle was an African-American male in his 30s. She got into the car with him and left.
Before she left, Krista wrote a letter to her parents.
And then this is a copy of the letter. "Just go on. I'll keep in contact. I'll be careful. I won't let anyone hurt me. Please forgive me and always keep me in your hearts and prayers. Love always, your daughter, Krista."
Over the years, detectives haven't found any trace of her.
There's no activity, bank accounts, social security numbers, DMV records. It's as if she just dropped off the face of the earth.
Detective Leahy says there's no evidence Krista is alive, but there's also no confirmation that she's died.
She could be in another country. She could have moved.
And if that's the case, it's possible Krista would look like this. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children created this age progression photo of Krista in her 50s.
I don't think she's my little girl anymore.
I go back through the report and I reread it 100 times. Just, did I miss something the time before?
While investigators have never figured out who picked up Krista that day in June, they did have a license plate.
The officer at the time ran that license plate through DMV records and it came back as unable to locate, which usually means that you got one number off or one letter off or the sequence was off. Well, had we had that information, we would have known who the registered owner of that vehicle was, and this could have been solved 30 years ago.
There's still that glimmer of hope that will be back.
It's word of mouth, it's witnesses coming forward, it's friends that knew her giving tips.
Helen's love for her daughter hasn't wavered. She's still holding out hope for that one tip, for answers.
If I saw her, I would just tell her that I loved her very much, and whatever's happened in the last 35 years, she could still come home.